What is up, fellas? Welcome back to another episode. Now, first of all, I want to apologize because I said I was going to put up a video yesterday and I didn't. I failed you guys. I was feeling a little off. Wasn't feeling the greatest. So I decided to push it out today when I can get some more quality content. But yeah, anyway, let's get right into it. Today, look, I know the title might scare you, okay? Bear market. What are we going to do? I thought you were all in on altcoin season. Be patient, okay? Get through the video. Just get through the video, okay? Now, this video is going to be talking about what I see going on. I do think this is some sort of a bear market. But as the title says, I think this is a very, very different type of bear market that we've ever seen. And I'll get into what I kind of think is going to happen, or at least what I see and what I'm doing. To prepare for this. Now, I'm going to show you a couple charts and then I'll show you my portfolio at the end, and adjustments I've made. But essentially, there's a couple things I want to point out here that are very, very interesting. Okay, so obviously we see a lot of similarities with 2021, right? You have the kind of double top here and you have the double top here. You also have, we go to the monthly. You also have, you have the MACD crossover, as you can see here, and as you can see here. All the signs that we're in a bear market kind of show that we're in a bear market. We're breaking down in the RSI as well. We have this big bullish divergence. Lower lows, and ranges that we only see during bear markets. Clearly we have lost some sort of momentum, right? And that's okay. Because the thing I want to point out here is I really think there's a strong chance that this bear market only lasts a couple months, honestly. And I'm going to get into why. So, as you can see here, this orange right here is interest rates. U.S. interest rates, and then we have the green right here, which is the Federal Reserve balance sheet, okay? Now, the Fed, if you guys didn't know, they just cut rates again, okay? And they are starting quantitative easing, I think, first week of January or second week of January. So, this green line is going to start to go up soon, okay? Now, I want to look back in history, right? And, what I want to compare this to a time where that happened, right? Because essentially, in 2021, a two bear market, right? We didn't have that. We actually had, a top in the balance sheet, and we had quantitative tightening starting, right? And the balance sheet going down, right? This is the opposite with the balance sheet going up. Same thing in 2017, right? The balance sheet was going down in that bear market, right? So this is a lot different, fundamentally and just macro, in the macro scheme, okay? Now, what I want you to notice, we're going to turn off interest rates for right now because I think the balance sheet really tells a really good picture here. So, when was the last time the balance sheet went up, right? When did QT end last? That was right here. That was September of 2019, okay? And essentially, that just happened right now. Let's put it right here, right around in January, okay? So, what can we notice? Bitcoin had a little macro top before QT ended, okay? Just like it did here, all right? And going into QT, it went down for a little while, okay? A couple months, all right? We're going to ignore the COVID crash, and we're going to pretend like this would have continued up, because it would have, okay? Or if not, it would have just went sideways and then went up, right? Now, what does this say, right? What does this tell us? Essentially, these are very, very fundamentally the same, right? Balance sheets going down, Bitcoin tops as the balance sheet's going down, and then when QT ends, Bitcoin starts to form its low and then head back up, right? So probably it's going to form a low here and then head back up. Now, it also stayed pretty range bound. Like, it chopped a little bit. Like, this move right here was a 44% rally right here. This green candle. So, you know, if we get a rally back up here, you know, it could look something like this, right? For a couple months, and then we go higher. So, you know, I see a lot of people expecting, you know, a bear market where we just go like this, like really deep down into like 50K. We sweep this 200-week moving average, and everyone buys back in October, November, December of 2026, right? And I don't think that's going to play out. I don't think that's the case, because when you have that much money printing, right, eventually Bitcoin's going to go up, and it's going to be only a matter of time. And if we look back to this, right, how long did this take for Bitcoin to top out and then for Bitcoin to start forming a low? So if we go here, Bitcoin topped here, and it formed a low right here. We're going to count the wicks, okay? That is 25 weeks, all right? 25 weeks. When, if we do that same thing right here, 25 weeks brings us to March of 2026. March. So it could last longer than it. It definitely could. But, you know, the way I see this playing out is, since we topped on a non-euphoric top, right, versus a euphoric top, you know, like this, like a parabolic rally, alt season, right? Since we didn't get any of that here, right, where does all of the selling pressure come in the bear market? Where does that come from? You know, why do we get these aggressive bear markets, right? It's because retail panic sells, okay? Retail buys the top, and then retail has the selling pressure, okay? Retail always creates the selling pressure. And you can even count whales in there as well, because whales also capitulate, and they like to play the cycles as well. But the problem is that retail interest is at an all-time low right now. So retail can't sell if they're not in the market. So the way I see this playing out is we have kind of a just chop of a bear market, right? Maybe we go lower. Maybe we do some like crazy pattern like this. Maybe we do try to wick to an all-time high in January, February, and then come lower, and then we get an alt season here. Or maybe we don't. Maybe we come down and then we go up here, and then we get faked out here, and then we go up. Like, it could really play out anyways, but I don't see this playing out like 2021. I don't think it's going to. Because in 2021, we had the balance sheet going down aggressively, right? We literally topped out, right? The balance sheet topped out at the peak of the bear market. This time, it's the complete opposite. The complete opposite. So, when people say, oh, the liquidity's coming, interest rates are getting lowered, you know, QT's ending, QE's starting, Bitcoin's going to go to a new all-time high in 2026, although I don't know if it's going to go to a new all-time high. It definitely could. I think they're somewhat right. And I think that all of those factors have been creating a stronger and less time-wise Bitcoin bear market. I think it's setting up for that. And, you know, whether we get a big bounce up to maybe sweep the high or come close to the high, get rejected, and come back down, you know, we'll see. We'll see how it plays out. If that happens, we'd likely get a mini alt season here as well. But that's how I see it playing out, okay? That's how I see it. You know, also, as you can see here, where we are in the RSI, we're pretty oversold already. And, you know, the last time we were down here was May of 2022 over here. And we were already pretty far into the bear market at that point. Like, it did drop lower, obviously, but, you know, lengthwise, this is already pretty much halfway through the bear market. So, just something to keep in mind. I think we are a little bit further into the bear market than a lot of people think. And I'm personally looking for entry prices, anything under 80,000 in Bitcoin. Anything under this orange line, that is the 100-week moving average, I'm fine with buying. But I'm just going to slowly dollar cost average and just keep buying, because the way I see this playing out is, like I said, it is a 2019 style, you know, QE starting, money printers turning on. We're just getting started, right? And I could see it turning pretty soon. Like, I really could. And another interesting thing that we can overlay here, if I have it, nope, is the S&P, right? And what did the S&P do? Why is this not? Oh, no, that's on Pit. What are we doing? Oh, it's crypto. Okay, here we go. Now, what happened last time when QT started, right? I mean, QE ended, and Bitcoin was going down. The stock market was still rallying to all-time highs. It was still rallying to all-time highs. And what is it doing now? It is still going to rally to all-time highs. And it took a stock market crash for interest rates, for the balance sheet to skyrocket up, and then Bitcoin to go back up. So, you know, maybe, as Bitcoin keeps going down and chopping, S&P will continue to put in all-time highs. It will then get a dip. Then it will give the Fed a reason to print more money, right? That's when this will skyrocket, the balance sheet, right? And then S&P goes back up, Bitcoin goes back up. That's kind of how I see this going. Obviously, it could play out in a lot of different ways. Like I said, we could even sweep the high and come back down. Who knows? But I don't think this is going to be a year-long, straight-down bear market like we've seen before. I don't. And what's interesting as well is if we go to the Bitcoin dominance and we look at those same charts, right? I'm going to turn off global liquidity. Look at that same chart. I'm also going to turn off the moving averages. Okay. Same charts here. What do we see happen in Bitcoin dominance? It marked the exact top. Exact top. Okay, ignore this because this was COVID, once again. But it marked the exact top in Bitcoin dominance. Bitcoin dominance would have just went all the way down forever, right? Now, it starts to make me wonder, did Bitcoin dominance really top here and we're just going to continue lower for the next couple years? Maybe. I really think so. And you can back that up as well by going into altcoins and looking at the same thing, right? Altcoins, same thing. Where did they bottom? Ignore this because this is COVID, like I said before. Where did altcoins bottom? Exactly when QT ended. Exactly when, right? And what just happened now? QT ended. Altcoins, pivotal point. They'll probably go back up, or you know, if it's not, you know, maybe they don't shoot up. Maybe they build for a couple of years and then shoot up, right? We don't know. But in my opinion, I think altcoins are fine to hold right now because they're already at lows. QT is ended, right? And you know, what's also very similar is if you look at the RSI, you see this massive, as soon as QT ended, we had a massive uptrend. That uptrend already started, right? We're already getting that uptrend. So, you know, I think, you know, maybe we stay range bound even and we just go like this and then we shoot up. Timing is hard, right? Obviously timing's hard. But, you know, I think there's a good chance that altcoins are a fine hold. Even if we don't get an alt season right now, it's going to happen eventually. I think we all know that. And it's going to happen as soon as Bitcoin goes to new all-time highs. Whenever that is. Maybe it's late 2026, early 2026, early 2027. But, you know, this chart alone makes me fine holding altcoins. And same thing with this Bitcoin dominance chart. I mean, I really don't think that, like, altcoins can really get hammered that much more. And same with Bitcoin. Like, I think Bitcoin can drop down to 60K. It's possible. But I don't think it's going to happen soon. I really don't. It definitely could, but, you know, like I said, it would probably be short-lived. It would probably be short-lived, and, you know, once this pocket of liquidity is taken, you know, we're going to shoot back up, and we're going to chase liquidity upside. But yeah, that's what I think. I do think this is some sort of a bear market. I mean, you can't really say it's not at this point. But, you know, once again, it could be, you know, I think it's a different type of bear market. You know, you could consider this a bear market even. You know, you can consider this a bear market when nothing did anything, right? You know, what's different than this being a bear market? Just a little short consolidation, right? Like, bear markets sound scary until you actually, you know, look at it for what it is. It's not that bad, right? It's not that bad, and it always sets up the buying opportunity. All right, the people getting rich this cycle were not the people buying it at 70K chasing 150K or 200K, right? They maybe made 10, 20% gains, 30% gains, whatever it was, 50% maybe max, but the people who got rich were the people buying it down here, okay? Same thing with every cycle. The people who got rich weren't the people buying it here, people buying it here, right? It was the people who bought it during the COVID crash, right? And you can go back every single cycle and say the same thing, right? Every single time, the bear market is where you make money. So you should be looking at this and you should be like, bear market, it's time. It's time, boys, right? You know, this is the opportunity where I can actually make money. You don't make money in the bull market. You make money in the bull market, but you set up to make money in the bear market, okay? So, you know, as things get lower, don't panic, just buy, right? Like, if you're panic selling over here, you're an idiot. Like, you're actually, man, it's crazy. It's actually crazy. You know, does Saylor sell his Bitcoin? Does Trump sell his Ethereum, right? Does Riot Blockchain sell their Bitcoin? No. They just buy and hold. Does El Salvador sell their Bitcoin? No. They bought the top of the cycle. They bought the top of the cycle last cycle, El Salvador. They aped in up here. And what did they do? They bought more all the way down. They got their average cost down to, like, probably about 30, 50K, whatever it was. And they rode it back up, and they're up significantly now. Like, all you got to do is just dollar cost average in a bear market. That's all you got to do. And then ape in at the lows, right? Ape in on these big candles, right? Ape in here, ape in here. That's all you got to do. So, yeah, that's my thoughts. I know bear markets sound scary. It's not that bad. And I think we're further along than a lot of people think. So, let me know your thoughts in the comments. That's all I got. See you guys in the next. Peace out.